hey mom, I'm doing this amazing thing. Did you see me on the news or did you see? And she's like, no, girl, I'm working. And I'm like, you're right. Okay. So that just kind of created like this numbness.
Welcome
to Mom Flails.
Because that's what we do. We flail so that tomorrow we can prevail. Flail.
Flail, flail.
Give me 20. Wonder Woman.
For mom.
Huh? You are too. Bring it on, baby. Okay, you guys are in for the ride of a lifetime. Let's welcome Shenequa PIERRE.
She's an innovative, unapologetic leader serving at the intersection of education, authentic impact, and social justice. She currently serves in many roles, all strategically focused on cultivating excellent education equipped for justice and empowerment of the community. She's an author, a mother, she's creative, a doctoral student, a strategist, a world traveler, entrepreneur, problem solver. Oh my God, so much more. For 10 years, she's been challenging audiences all over the world to face their fears, embrace change, and walk in on purpose. I'm so excited. Welcome to Mom Flails.
Welcome.
A lot of people tell me like my energy is like out of the roof and they're like, are you taking supplements? And I'm like, no.
It's like, no, don't eat them. I'm a mom. You're an assistant principal. Okay, so maybe let's start there. Introduce yourself. Yeah.
All right. So my name is Shenequa PIERRE. I am originally from Miami, Florida, transitioned to New York in 2016 for the role of assistant principal at a charter school where I was over the middle school. And then it was my responsibility to coach 20 teachers, the whole literacy department. And so literacy is not just reading and writing, but it also included the humanitarian department. From there, I became academic manager over the middle and the high school. Then I transitioned to another charter where I'm currently serving in the same role, but just a little bit different because in 2018, we founded this school.
Amazing. You founded a school.
Yes, I was part of founding a school of middle school students. And so we started off with 5th grade, and now we are in year 3 where we currently have our 5th grade founders that are now 7th grade students.
Unbelievable. And this is the thing, your kids probably excel like crazy because that's who you are. I can just see you like running this school, like building all these little entrepreneurs.
Totally.
For them to love and believe themselves because of where you've come from and the things you've been through and how you were raised and, you know, pushed in one direction, but needed to follow your heart in the other. And that I would love to talk about.
Yes, sure. And so one of my mantras is Ductus Exemplos, which stands for lead by example. And so using that quote, I embody it in everything that I do as a mom, as an author, as a school leader, as a friend. I think it's crucial and it's important that we don't shy away from our stories and our experiences because we have the ability to kind of curate what type of expectation or experience that we want. And so as a school leader, I don't shy away from that. And so even if my kids are 10 or 11, I tell them transparently about my upbringing. And so giving them an opportunity to not necessarily always be product of their environment and my expectations and also my experiences. So it's kind of pushing the kids to live in this duality because unfortunately, a lot of my students are in very impoverished neighborhoods. 98% of them are on free and reduced lunch. And they don't necessarily come from a strong socioeconomic background, but they have strong culture. And so with that, just providing them outlets and opportunities to understand who they are as people, but then how can they now be conduits to their community, which means having these conversations early where they don't have to be forced to live vicariously through other people.
Yeah, other people, and then represent their parents who tell them who to be.
True.
This is the thing. And I actually, last night, I had a Zoom meeting with a whole bunch of kindergarten teachers. It was unbelievable. And one of the biggest topics of conversation we were having was about this, about who are we to tell our kids that they need to only learn sight words like it, the, did. Why are teachers being told that they cannot provide or put in front of children more difficult positive words like able, articulate, accomplished, which is my program. And I actually had a teacher tell me she is probably going to be denied being able to bring a more positive program, the one module in particular, to her kindergarten students. My whole thing is the kids are so much smarter than we give them credit for. And they're just sponges of information. And if we help guide them, like you help your students to love themselves, to believe in themselves, to know they're better than anything they can even dream of. And if they can dream it, they can do it.
Absolutely.
You are the hero. You know, like this is why I wanted, it's true. You are amazing. And you being an assistant principal just gives me hope in terms of if these principals have the say in yay or nay on whether or not kids can be guided further in life earlier at a younger age, that gives me hope because you're in that role where you provide that guidance to other teachers to be able to help kids the way they need to be helped.
Yeah. I won't say that it's an easy feat though, because you have so much bureaucracy within these different positions, but it genuinely just takes a person to really stand up in your truth and advocate for what you believe is right. And I believe that kids should be afforded the opportunity to be themselves. And so stop creating caps where we're limiting students' ability, not necessarily because of what we think they can't do, but sometimes because of the teachers being afraid to actually step outside of their comfort zones and have autonomy to be creative and do things differently. Because to be honest, it's easy to follow a script. It's easy to just not necessarily break up the monotony. But when you're forced to be intuitive, when you're encouraged to, be innovative and proactive about your approach, that's when you have to think. And so that's one of the things that I push our students to be critical thinkers. And so when your teacher asks you to do something, you're not going to get in trouble if you ask why. Because I believe the smartest people are those that are curious, and curious people are very interrogative. And so if you are uncomfortable with receiving feedback from a child where they're asking you why, so that you're actually modeling for them the importance of process, then I question that teacher's ability of truly what is your motive behind being in the classroom.
Yes. Just like power tripping basically. And that just hit a major spot with me because I was that girl. I was that student. I was the why. I was, I always had my hand up and, wanting to question because I thought outside the box. Like this is for me as a children's author is it's okay to scribble outside the lines sometimes.
Yeah.
Because when we scribble outside the lines is when we find our way. We find our groove. We use our imaginations and we live free.
True.
And I had so many teachers tell me, don't ask me why. Honestly, even in university, give me worse off grades and or I found were really biased towards me in my papers or anything I wrote because I created a little bit of ripple. I made waves in the class.
Sure.
Yeah. But it happens, right? And so the biggest thing I think right now is the reason why I wanted you on this show on the podcast today and to just share your heart is because you are an incredible mother. You are You're an incredible boss babe in its entirety. Yes, you have all the accreditations behind you, which I want you to share. And then what you decided to do and why you love helping kids.
Yeah. My story did not start in education. Like every time I tell this story, people are like, yeah, right. Like you didn't go to school to be a teacher? I absolutely did not. I did not want to be a teacher. I went to school actually to become a pathologist, which is a medical examiner, because I am of Haitian and Cuban descent. And in the Caribbean, I was told that the only successful people are doctors and lawyers. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to be the first. And so I'm going through school and, graduated high school, 4.8 salutatorian. Yes. But honestly, I was always smart, but the motive behind me getting those grades, and I'll talk a little bit about that later, was never grounded in me owning my own ability. It was always about proving. And so became salutatorian, went to college, got a degree in biology and a degree in psychology. Then I was in med school. Yay. Scholarship for that, 4.0. And I'm like, okay, yes, I'm rocking it out. And I'm really moving towards the trajectory of becoming that first doctor in my family where I can show every single person that doubted my ability that I am going to be successful.
Yeah.
So I'm in school and it's 13 hours, MCAT, you're doing all of this testing where I'm now limited with my social
obligations and friends and life.
Life is limited at this point because all I'm doing is studying and stressing, the two S's, studying and stressing. And so then I had a very close relationship with my grandmother. My mom, I love her, but she was limited in what she was able to provide for me. And let me clarify, it's not that I was lacking provision or lacking shelter. Like I had everything that I could never, ever need or want. But as far as emotional availability, my mom didn't provide that because she was consistently working and trying to push her way to make sure that we didn't want anything, which was great. But the other part of being a parent is that you also have to tap into your child's social and emotional ability. So I was also an athlete. I played soccer. I ran track. I played football. My mom didn't come to my games. I was part of the debate club. I was part of different community initiatives. My mom wasn't there. And so it would be like, hey, mom, doing this amazing thing. Did you see me on the news or did you see? And she's like, no, girl, I'm working. And I'm like, you're right. Okay.
Wow.
So that just kind of created like this numbness to being able to think about my own worth, my own value, and then the need for validation.
Mom's validation is, it resonates, right? With so many of our listeners, they're with you and were there. It doesn't matter if you're 5 or you're 25. The things that you go through, our moms were the first ones to say, I love you.
Yep.
The first ones to say, you're smart or you can do anything. And so the words that they speak to us, and then the actions that they do, it is insane how much it matters.
It matters so much because just as you stated, like being 5 or 25 or even 35, those words of affirmations and being affirmed by people that are supposed to be your first gatekeepers or examples of relationships, healthy ones, it's important. And so to fast forward, my grandmother was that for me. And so very close to my grandma, and my grandma got really sick. And upon her dying bed, she told me, you know what, you are not happy. You're not happy and it's showing. You're stressed. And I think that you, instead of trying to live for other people, you need to live for yourself. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm at the point where enough is enough. And I believe you because I know that you care for me. And she just was like, if you do anything to push or further the legacy that you love me and you listen, like live for you. And I was like, you know what? Bam, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do med school anymore. I'm out of here.
I'm going to do me, right?
I'm definitely going to do me. So I was like, you know what? I always had an affinity for the question why and being intrigued with cognitive processes and behavior. Yeah. So I said, let me bounce back on my second degree psychology. Let me get a master's. Then I got 2. I got one in mental health counseling, and then I got a second one in applied behavior analysis. Upon having to do my graduation capstone, they told me that I needed to do a project. So I was like, okay, no problem. He said, we're going to put you in a school. I'm like, absolutely not. What are you putting me in a school for? Like I said, I wanted to open up a practice, to break the taboo associated with mental health counseling. Yeah. What does a school have to do with that? They were like, do you want to graduate? And I was like, okay, I'll do the school thing. went into the school. They put me with a group of young ladies that I'm still in contact with today, and they were in crisis. And so these were young ladies that did not care about school. They came from very different backgrounds, home living situations, and were promiscuous and just had a different outlook on life. And so the principal was like, this is the group of girls I want you to work with. And I was like, okay, cool. And so upon working with the girls, I saw that they were being prescribed a formula or a prescription based off of this idea or symptom that they believed that the young ladies represented. I said I wanted to do something completely different. I am going to look into who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Let's tap into your potential.
And each individual, right? So it wasn't just as a group. Yeah.
Correct. Each individual potential.
Yeah.
So it's not where it's something that's customized for the entire group. I wanted to know you as a person. And then from there, I tailored a plan that encompasses social emotional learning and then academics. Those young ladies went from not coming to school at all to coming to school at least 3 times a week. And I was like, okay. They went from getting F's to C's. And so every time that there was some type of progression in their milestones, I would celebrate that. And then the principal was like, you're here almost every day. Like, you know, you only have to come twice. I said, yeah, but if I'm inspecting what I'm expecting, I can't just be here for 2 days. I have to be able to collect data and see if what I prescribe specifically for this individual, if it's working, and then also provide them with feedback on what are the things that they need to change, potentially.
You're amazing. Not everybody's like you. You know that, right? When you talk, I feel your energy, your beautiful energy. Not everybody's like you. Not everybody is supportive and wonderful and cares about each individual. That's why I wanted to say that. Because most people would take the easy way out or easy route and look at everybody as a group as a whole. You are different on that front. You care.
Yeah, but if you do that though, you're not like, imagine if people just didn't differentiate their approach with you. Like,
I agree. And it should be the perspective with everything you do in life, business, love. Everybody is important. Every individual.
Yeah, we are individuals. And so I think it's important to do just that, like see you as a person. And I believe that's how I was able to tap into those young ladies, and then their trajectory shifted. And so at that end of the year, those young ladies went from coming to school 3 days to almost every day of the week. 2 young ladies actually got caught up because a lot of them were retained from previous years of chronic absenteeism. And so at the end of the year, you know, celebrating their success, I would do mall dates. We would go to restaurants. I would write grants and see if I can get funding to take them like outside of their norm. And so I did a questionnaire where I was like, name 3 places that you'd like to go. And it was sad that some of them would say just the beach or to the mall. And meanwhile, if you ask my 10-year-old daughter, she'd tell you, oh, Mom, I'd like to go to Maldives, right? And I'm just like, you know, for me, what that showed me is that there's so many people in these young ladies' lives that put caps, that put limits. And so I would write grants and give them opportunities to go outside of the things that they could even imagine. Fast forward, end of the year, girls, amazing. The principal was like, you did such an amazing job with these young ladies. Have you ever considered being a teacher? I was like, nope, I did this to graduate. He was like, you're so passionate and you were amazing. I said, you know what? I'll try it. I can have summers off. I am 25 and I'll have a good salary. You know, let me try this. At the end of that year, I became Rookie Teacher of the Year.
Unbelievable.
And I continued with those young ladies. 2 of them, one graduated from Stanford, another one graduated from Brown. Another one of those young ladies actually worked with me on the nonprofit because that was one of the reasons or the pivotal point in my life that made me create GEMS, which is my nonprofit organization, Girls Empowered and Motivated to Succeed, where our focus is awareness, advocacy, and action. And so every year, I would take in 25 new girls. And so that journey started in 2009. And so since then, I've been able to mentor 300 plus young ladies in New York, Duval County, in Jacksonville, Broward County, and Miami, Florida. And my goal is to make it global and international because every girl every young lady needs to be empowered in a way where they can educate and equip themselves, but then also be benefactors to their communities. And so that is my goal. That is my step.
I'm like worked up over here. Like I'm just so proud of everything that you do and everything you've done and everything I know you're going to do. And just all of these amazing girls who have you in their life are so lucky. So share with us, how can somebody maybe who's listening might know somebody who would be interested in, participating or getting involved in some way? Share with us what your goals are.
The goal is honestly for these young girls to be developing these 5 pillars, where it's identity first, because you need to know you at your core, career planning. And so after you know who you are, where do you want to make your stamp, owning your metron? The third thing is etiquette. And so not necessarily etiquette where you're thinking about fine dining, but how do you show up in spaces? The second thing is financial literacy, where you have a grip and handle on the way you manage your money, the importance of capital and stock. And then lastly, just mental health, but then also the fun part of just being a girl and embracing your femininity and what does it mean to really stand in your truth. And so these young ladies go through different courses on a weekly base that I host with different partners. I call them gem refiners because we're gems. And so in order to be polished, you need to be refined. These are experts in those specific fields. And what we do is literally just give the young ladies a lesson that they have an opportunity to digest and ask questions. And then at the end of the teaching, from an expert based off of that discipline or that curriculum. All of this is out of my pocket, but because I love it so much, I know that I believe that because of what I'm pouring into the community, that it will come back. My goal is to partner with donors and investors that could ultimately pay for these young ladies to go to college. My goal is that at the end of you matriculating through high school, that I can give you $10,000 to go to college or wherever it is that you want to go and set you up for success. I have 2 girls, as I stated, and I gave them money out of my own pocket because I do believe that it is a seed that's going to come back. And where people can potentially partner.
Well, I was just going to say that, that's how it all happens, right? So you are one of those people. There's 2 people in the world. There's one who just does good for others, right? Yeah. Who loves and cares and supports people genuinely, other people. And you put out because what you put out comes back. Regardless, you expect nothing in return from that person. You just know some way, shape, or form, the way the world works in energy. You put it out, it comes back.
Yep.
Tenfold. I'm the same. There's the other side of the world doesn't think like that. I do. You speaking, what's going on in my brain right now is just, my goals for my business and helping kids in their entirety, really young in their mindset, with us, both of us together. Absolutely. This starts taking off, and I absolutely have, proceeds go towards your GEMS organization once everything is unfolding, because we all need to collab and work together and support and help one another in one way, shape, or form, right? Like you and I talked about this. We had an in-depth conversation about, people taking their own life. This is something I struggled with and, thought about multiple times, going through everything I have in my life.
Absolutely.
And I chose not to, because guides and these mentors like your grandma that, showed you how to be strong, be your own person, lift your wings and fly, so to speak, through the air as high as you can go. Give yourself that wind, because at the end of the day, there's so much waiting for us if you just keep moving forward.
Yep, absolutely. You said it so beautifully. It's just this idea. I just told my teachers today, and we get so caught up in thinking about failure as in a very negative connotation, when in actuality, failure is an opportunity to do something. To do something more intelligently. And so I look at that as an opportunity for a lesson. And when you cultivate that mindset, you want to try. Like this may seem impossible to you, but to me, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a go, because the only thing that can happen is, making the right decision the first time. Because then you learn from that right first decision, and you make a different one the next. and everything is just moving forward. I love you. I love you to the moon. You're my people. You're my tribe. You're my girl. You take care of other people, and you do put them before yourself. However, I also know you put you first too.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, so I'm happy that is the segue, because for a little bit of my life, I didn't, right? I didn't necessarily put myself first because of me looking at myself through a broken lens and through an image that was distorted. It wasn't until I was able to own my identity and understand who I was that I had to reflect and think about, if you're no good, you won't be good to anyone else. And that's why when thinking about gems, the first thing we tackle is identity, because I'm thinking about, if I can get you in your juvenile state to understand the importance of who you are at your core, oh man, you're unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
You can do whatever you want. Like looking at my daughter, she's 10, and being able, well, she's 11 now. She just turned 11 on Friday. But looking at what she's been able to do at the age of 10, I had to think about, well, Shenequa, what did you break? What pattern did you observe that you disrupted and shifted? It was self-image, understanding who she was and how you could do whatever you want. My daughter at the age of 10 is a published author, a published international author. She gets money every month based off of her own book sales. At
Incredible.
10, whoa.
That's the goal, right?
And it's like, it's this idea of whenever I wanted to think about, like, what does this look like? When parents ask me, well, what does it mean when you provide your child with choice? Or what does it mean when you say take the limits off? I'm like, Exhibit A.
Yeah, anything is possible.
They can do anything.
Anything. Like you and I could sit here and just say anything over and over again because it's so true. It's so true. My daughter, same thing, and I think we touched upon it a little. Like early reader, I love that your daughter has published your book, because that's part of my whole program. Is all the kids get to write their gratitude books. We publish it for them. If you are young and you do something like that, you accomplish something at a really young age, and you get that feeling of gratification that you can do anything. Imagine where you can go in life and what you can do. There are no barriers to anything.
None.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I just, okay, love you. Like we literally just like back and forth about, I love it. This is the stuff that I crave. Like I lay in bed and I'm like, just can't wait to talk to Shenequa, because she's so my person.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing that really I wanted you to, because I know a lot of teachers are going to be listening to this too. Okay. So you're a guide, a teacher, a coach, a mentor. And so I have a lot of teachers, especially kindergarten ones, all grades really. What is some of the advice? Because you were telling me with teachers, you're helping them with their mental well-being right now and through the virtual learning side of things.
Yeah.
So do you have anything that you really want to share your mentorship position and what you are doing for your teachers?
Sure. So one of the first things I tell my teachers is just this idea of empathy, right? And it's understanding the human condition, whereas we are living in a different time, which means we have to adjust to a different mindset. You can't expect things to be like they were. And so being able to embrace change is something that we talk about consistently. And so it's not about perfection, it's about progression, right? And so being able to provide students with a supporter, like you are a thought partner, you are building a learning partnership, which means you're not operating in power over purpose, and you're thinking through the different ideologies or mindsets that our kids have to go through and coming to your screen every day, having to sit approximately for 3 to 4 hours and build connection.
6 hours.
Right. No, and that's crazy. It shouldn't be 6 hours.
Right?
Like I would definitely channel that district and be like, that is too much.
Especially for a 5 or 6 year old. Like that is
ridiculous. Yeah. But telling the teachers or encouraging the teachers to think through other ways where you can engage your students virtually. So that means that you are coming with a positive vibe, building and curating a positive atmosphere, pushing this idea of gratitude, because we can look at statistics and we can look at the data. Not too many people had the ability to wake up this morning. Not too many people have the ability to sit in front of a computer where they can see and the screen actually works. Not too many people can say that they have lunch, that they have their family members. And so pushing this idea of gratitude so that you can submit yourself and being an example for those students. And then on the flip side with parents, talking through the same aspects of empathy and what does that look like at home. And so if your children are on the computer for 3 to 6 hours, this is where you can also engage them, right? So take them to the park. Do things that move them away from a screen, not where you just want to hush them or make them get out of your way, i.e. go play your game or go do this on another screen. No, this is where you build authentic interactions by engaging in some type of physical activity or even a conversation. The intentionality behind those things can go a long way. And not asking close-ended questions, right? Yeah. We want to push our kids to be able to talk, because then you open up the dialogue to potentially be where, you know what, today wasn't necessarily a good day. And then guess what the next question could be? Why? How come? What happened? You see how you foster?
Open them up. Yeah.
Right. And then the last thing I would say, this is also for teachers and for parents, being very intentional about time. That's how kids judge. It's unfortunate. I did a video on this on the Parent Resource Room, I want to say this week, where I talked about how kids value your time and they also look at it as a metric. And we have to be intentional about our time. Just like we are intentional about our careers, we are intentional about our relationships, we are even intentional about what we're going to eat. You need to be intentional about curating those experiences with your kid, even if it means you being consistent on a weekly basis just to have a 10-minute conversation.
Like, I'm at a loss for words, because this is exactly what, even personally, I'm going through right now. I have spent so much time with the kids, and with the podcast and everything happening, I have been having the most mom guilt I think I've had in a year, because I agree and I see it physically in my kids. When, I'm in the office and I'm working, I will bring them in and I'll have them sit on my lap and help me, because I'm creating, curriculum and more fun modules and whole program for kindergartners to help teachers. So I have them helping me, but I see it in them. And they're my biggest cheerleaders. Like, they walk in like, Mom, I'm so proud of you. Like, I look forward to seeing you when you're finished. And, oh God, I'm just like, I love you. It's this mom guilt thing. And I hear you. The thing is I have that mom guilt because I spend the time reading, telling stories, asking them questions, the pillow talk, the park. I am that mom. The thing is, there are a lot of moms out there who are consumers. They consume and don't necessarily produce, right? And so they're not actively portraying that producing self to their children. And that's all maybe they know, right? Like, there's a whole episode, like with Oprah, right? With Oprah, with her mom and her love that she got from her mom. And she realized that her mom didn't have this full bucket of love like she has, that she gives. Some moms that are like that, some dads, and it's the whole like looking through their eyes, however much love they have to give, they're giving all of it. And through my program, I've come to realize these moms, right now especially, are kind of pushed into this teacher, mentor, guide, coach mode as a parent, because now they are kind of forced to be present. So this is something that is new to a lot of moms in this day and age, because they're on their phones. watching other people's videos, watching doing other people's courses, watching other people's businesses grow, instead of following their own dreams and guiding their kids to believe that they can do anything, because they themselves are kind of stuck in that rat race of just consuming. So it's interesting. Me as a person, I've come to realize there's no converting these people. It's kind of like religion. You believe in a religion. I'm not going to come and convert you to my religion because you believe in your religion and I love you for what you believe in. It's kind of the same thing. However, it's more about opening their eyes to what the possibilities are for their kids if they spend, big deal, 10, 15 minutes with their kids a day. Read them a book, tell them a story, ask them a question, participate, go for a walk around the block and count the doors, or look at the addresses and talk about numbers. There's so many different things you can do to participate. And I think moms, especially the ones who consume, are now being pushed into being the guide. And so I bet you there are going to be a ton listening and maybe kind of going, like this is their amazing aha moment to realize that they can be a part of their kid's life and make a change for them, like you are doing for so many. Teachers are the guide, usually.
I think the first thing though, in order to shift that trajectory in their mindset, is I heard you say, moms, I heard you say like being pushed into, and I would even change it where it's like, I'm being pushed to a new opportunity or a new experience where it's like, in all honesty, there are some positive aspects of this whole quarantine and situation where it's like now we're being pushed back to our original design. If you think about it, parents are your first teachers. And so I'm looking at this as, wow, parents are now being encouraged to create these opportunities to foster new experiences with their kids. Can you imagine talking about this in 5 years? Actually, remember when I had to teach you decimals and we had to go to the store and you had to cut up and create a recipe, and I recorded you because I needed to see if you really understood sequence of events. Like, can you imagine having those conversations in 5 years?
Crazy, right?
They're crazy, but they're cool.
So cool. It's the best opportunity ever. I think the kids of the future that are growing up during this time, by having that relationship that most likely would not have existed with their parents, and the extra bonding, the extra time, it is in a way a blessing. And I felt so guilty on so many levels saying that or thinking that. But if my kids were in school or they were in daycare, I wouldn't have had all of these beautiful days I've had with them over the last 6 months. They're never going to be this young again. Every day, every second, they're getting older. And we only have so much time with our kids to help them and be there and bond and guide them. And this is just, I hear you. This is cool. This is so cool.
Yeah, it's memories that will never, ever be taken away. And it's going to be so awesome because these are moments that you can magnify later on.
Okay, I love this. So this is a perfect segue for another. So you as a mom, we talked about this before. And so for other moms out there who are like, being guided and pushed to this new amazing opportunity to help and teach and inspire kids, share some of the things that you did and do with your daughter as a mom. For example, you said when you were shopping instead of pricing, so when in TV, stuff like that. Like, what are some of the things that moms can do at home to kind of encompass teaching math and English, etc., without teaching?
Without teaching, And so it's just about the practicality, and I call it real world application. And so when I want to push my daughter's fluency, she watches TV, but I put it on mute and she has to read the captions. Captions, meaning she has to read from right to left. And if you want to keep up with the conversation, you're going to be fluent. And then on commercial break, I'd be like, okay, so tell me what's happening. Like, tell me what's going on with the main character. And then I kind of present it in a way.
Oh, I love that part. Yeah, that's the part that I don't do. I put on the captions, but I don't actually pause. Okay, now let's actually convert
Yeah, make it like a challenge where I'm like, okay, so tell me, and I don't ask the same question every time because then you'll get used to it. So the first time I'll say, tell me about the main character. Can you tell me about the silent character in the back? Like, is he really being silent? Because, I see his nonverbals. And so now I'm tapping into inferences.
Yeah. So good.
Right? Where now I'm not just focusing on accuracy and fluency. Now we're looking at inferences. What is the author telling you plus what you know to be able to build comprehension? Yeah, and that helps me. That actually helped me read rooms because I used to be in acting and I would do improv, but with no words.
Yeah.
That is a great way to make your kids also aware of situations and scenarios. Every kid loves slime, right? And so I'm like, you know what?
Every parent detests slime.
Oh, I was just about to say, I'm going to make slime work for me. And so what I would do was...
How do you do that? Turn it into a rock?
No. That would be, or throw it over the balcony. No. I will tell my daughter that, okay, in order to make slime, I need you to use the scientific method in breaking down how to make this new type of slime, which means you have to come up with a question, come up with a hypothesis. Then you have the opportunity to break down a procedure. Then you can experiment. Then you're going to test your hypothesis. And then you're going to write a conclusion. But you know what? I was like, this is cool. This is awesome. And you can make slime. But I'm also testing your ability to be a critical thinker, right? And you're showing me how you process, right? So you can have fun. You can do all those things. That's a science lesson. Something else where with math. So we go to the grocery store once a week because my daughter is very particular about the things that she consumes, right? And so I'm like, okay, well, today we're going to do a lesson, or we go to a grocery store or a restaurant. We're going to do, I'll do a restaurant. We're going to go to this restaurant. I want you to observe the waiter or the waitress. I want you to be very particular in observing how they serve us. What is their demeanor? You're going to tell me and calculate their tip. And so I would give the parameters, highest 20% up until 10%. And then if you choose, whatever you choose, you have to use CER. CER is just another way to be able to solidify and synthesize your responses, where C is a claim, E is evidence, R is your reasoning. So if you're saying that if you're going to give this waiter 18%, what's your claim?
I'm writing this down. This is a good one.
What is your evidence? And then what is your reason?
Yeah.
If you can synthesize and solidify your response, we're going to give them 18%. If you can't, we got to go lower.
Yeah.
If you feel like and your evidence doesn't necessarily match the percentage, I'm going to challenge you and say, well, if you feel like they were so amazing, why would you not go up? And then that's where you're pushing them now to think a little bit past logic, where it's like,
yeah,
where am I going to rely on my experiences now? Because when you think about writing, right, how do you bring the reader in?
Yeah.
In relevance? How do you bring the reader in? By being anecdotal and being very expressive. So now we can talk about figurative. I love music. I love music. Love music. Because I feel like people that are great lyricists are great writers. This is how I challenge teachers, my daughter as well.
Yeah.
Your favorite song. Tell me your favorite song.
Yeah.
Cool. Your favorite song, and I say, great. Let's listen to the chorus. We listen to the chorus twice. We sing it, we belt it. Woo, it's my favorite song. Great. Now, can you tell me what's the essential message of the song? And how you get that? If you think about the chorus, it's repetition. Usually the essential message is in the chorus. Now I want to take it a step further because I told you we're focusing on figurative language. I want you to tell me in the verses, how does the author use figurative language? Have you pointed out synonyms? Are there any metaphors? Is there any type of personification? Are they using alliteration? From there, now what my daughter does with every song, right. Mom, did you hear how Billie Eilish personified the rain and like she was drowning, or how she was talking about her mood and her tone? Because when you listen to the song, it sounds very mellow. And so I'm inferencing that potentially this is going to be like a sad song. And so I said, so what do you think how do artists draw you into their music?
Right.
Oh, they play on my mood. And I'm like, you see,
Right.
how cool is that? I just bust down a language arts lesson.
Oh, cool. It's awesome.
Just by letting you listen to your favorite song.
Incredible.
If parents took the time and no, like, honestly, you don't have to have a degree in order.
Not at all. Anybody can talk about the lyrics in a song.
Anybody. You just got to be intentional. That's all. You just got to be intentional. That is it.
And present and in the moment. That's it. And you know what? Those are the memories that your kids remember. Right? When you're all the memories that I have of being a little girl and, you know, with my mom or, you know, whenever I saw my dad, it was when they were present in the moment. That's it.
Yep.
And it's just, thank you. That's all so beautiful. I'm literally, because I listen to music with my kids all the time. It's our thing. I'm obsessed with music, and so are they. They know the artists. I ask them all the time, like, who sings this? What's it called? But getting more into it, like my daughter memorized, she sings songs, and it was every word. And I'm like, how did you even catch that line? Like, I don't even know. She's going to dig deeper into it and have her explain it. I love that. I'm going to do that. She's turning 7. She's still 6, but we can do these things at any time. And so they're always ready. Yeah. And so that's what I love about this is everything that you're saying, no matter who's listening as a mom or any of you gents out there, if there's any men and dads, if you're listening, kudos to you. Wow. The whole thing is no matter what mom you are, what age you are, what age your kids are,
right?
Everything that you've been talking about today, we can incorporate into our lives and into our teaching and into our guiding.
Right.
And which is just incredible. And so,
right.
Yeah. I could literally talk to you for hours and hours and hours and hours. I think the biggest thing that I really wanted to thank you for is for stepping outside of you, stepping outside and being you. And one of the biggest things that you taught me is that is so true that we talked about is just that our parents, and for moms listening, this is important because I was even doing this with my kids. And Shenequa shared this with me. And so we oftentimes as moms want our kids to represent us or, you know, there's things that we maybe didn't achieve as kids or we wanted to achieve or we made friends with the wrong kids. We don't want them to do it. We're telling them that we want them to act a certain way or be a certain way. And I found after we spoke, I was like, holy smokes, I've said that to my kid. Before going into a restaurant or the mall or wherever, a store, be on your best behavior because, you know, you're representing me and you're representing the business and you guys are amazing kids. You're kind and sensitive and you're caring 99% of the time. And sometimes at 1% when they're out, I'm like, no. But then the other day I realized they're not representing me. They're representing themselves. And it was, I had the conversation, we were in the car and I was with them and I said, do you know what, guys? I said, I learned the coolest thing the other day from this amazing woman called Shenequa. And you know how I tell you guys when we go in anywhere that you're representing me and the kids are like, yeah, you know, and I'm like, I was totally wrong. You guys, you're old enough now. You're representing yourselves. So when you go in somewhere, how do you want to be seen? Do you want to be seen as kind and sensitive and caring and supportive?
Right.
You know, oftentimes if you see other kids that are yelling at their parents or kind of acting out, you look at me and go, huh. So now it's just so cool. You guys are now fully in charge of yourselves.
Right.
You can represent yourself and you can be how you want in the world because what you put out comes back. And they were like, oh, okay. And I'm never, ever, ever going to say to them again that they represent me because they are their own people.
Right.
And that is the coolest breakthrough that I have recently had as a mom because I, as a kid, was told that all the time. And I love my parents. They raised us amazing well, just like you. We had, you know, everything, no complaints about, you know, a lot. Everything that we go through makes us who we are. And it was just so great because it took me, you know, 38 years to break free. I'm turning 40 next year to break free from you're representing me, just like you, right? Like be a lawyer, a doctor, go to school, get your degree, get a good job, make money. That's what you need to do. And it took me 38 years representing what I was being told to be, to leave, to follow my passion, to be me. So our kids are so young now. It's so important to let them know they can do anything. Moms, your kids can do and be anything they want, because I think that is your message. As on, the entire platform of everything that you do is like, just believe in yourself to your core, find out who you are on your own with the support and guidance of amazing people, because you can do anything. I appreciate you so much. I can't even tell you. You are an incredible woman. I'm just so honored and blessed to have you now in my life. I am. And everybody who's listening, if you too love Shenequa as much as I do, and I know you do, go to the mumflails.com site. It's just a one-time opt-in to the monthly newsletter. You get one a month. That's it. And in that newsletter, I'm putting all the information of the amazing women like Shenequa that I'm interviewing in the month. And if you want to connect with Shenequa, you want to reach out to her, we'll make sure to put her information in there for you and make it a great connection, whether you can collab or maybe you want to donate or help invest into her GEMS program or anything else that she's doing. She's also got a podcast. You guys want to hear her every day? You can. All you have to do is press play, look her up, but we'll put all of that in the newsletter. So mumflails.com, and sign up, of course, to the Facebook group. You're part of the exclusive Mum Flails Club. It's only for guests and those who listen, because you guys can all request Shenequa back, right? Like, we could do this for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours.
Right.
We could. You're so much. We've had long conversations. So this is you, and I hope, that you can come back again and share more of your wisdom and more about the world today.
So I'm totally honored. Thank you so much. I definitely want to extend my gratitude, because you are amazing as well. You are beautiful, you're brilliant, and you are bold. And so I want to applaud you for trying and doing.
Woohoo!
And modeling what it means to be limitless and pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, because I think that is something that needs to be prevalent a lot more in society. So thank you for creating a platform for amazing women to come share their story and talk about how they're changing the narrative and how they're being disruptors, because I think that's something that's not highlighted as often. We tend to be highlighted as being very graceful and submissive. I can be all of that and beautiful and still change the narrative. And so thank you so much for the opportunity of even inviting me here. I'm honored, and I would definitely come back whenever you want me to come back.
Yeah. Okay, so I have one last question for you. If you had one message to share with the world, what would that be?
Be your authentic self. Meaning show up in space as who you are. Don't live vicariously through other people, and don't allow other people to live vicariously through you. Do the work when it comes to being self-aware about how do you show up. Like, who are you at your core? What does it mean to be you, and live unapologetically as that person every single day. Be who you are. Don't let anyone try to change or manipulate your mindset. Just stay true to you, because at the end of the day, that's who you have to answer to. And so living with that notion in mind, you'll have better days, because you could at least know that, like, the stamp that you put in this earth, you weren't fake. You were yourself. And so my message is to be you.
Oh my goodness. I appreciate you so much, to the moon, and stay safe and just keep doing what you're doing over there. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Like, you're now in my phone. We'll be texting late night text, pillow talk. I love it.
Yep.
Thank you, my darling.
You're welcome. Have an awesome, terrific Thursday.
Is it Thursday? I don't even know. Mom Flails. Mwah.
I
have a dream, and that dream is for all of us to connect. I miss connecting with people, and I am inspired by you. Go inspire somebody too. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe because you know whether or not you want to do that on your own. And if you miss me, then I'll talk to you